Hey everyone, Tessa here to present on my research proposal, evaluating the impact of prosocial priming on disinhibited behavior in cyberspace. I just want to start off by apologizing if you see me look down to the side. I am following along on my Prezi presentation on my laptop so I don't get lost in what I'm saying. So instant messaging, video chats, emailing, social networks have all become defining components of online communication frameworks that have shown rapid development and growth in the past decade. Such frameworks have become increasingly accessible through our laptops, home computers, smartphones, and tablets. As interaction has become a defining factor of cyberspace, a number of associated issues have surfaced. Current research reveals cyberspace as a socially poor environment. It limits one's ability to draw appropriate social cues, and then ultimately it fosters anti-normative behavior. In identifying these psychological restraints, psychologist John Suler developed his theory, the online disinhibition effect, which is wherein one abandons social inhibitions that would normally be present in face-to-face communication. He breaks this theory down into two categories: benign disinhibition and toxic disinhibition. Benign being where one shares wishes, feelings, desires, thoughts that they normally wouldn't in a physical social situation. Or, on the other hand, we have toxic disinhibition, where he coined the term basically to describe flaming and acting out behaviors online. Flaming is defined as hostile expression towards others in online communication. It typically includes textual elements such as aggressive and hostile language, derogatory names, swearing, negative comments, and even sexually inappropriate comments. According to Pew Research, a recent study they published actually just a few months ago, 4 in 10 adults have reported to have been harassed online. To even a greater stance, 73% of the respondents said that they had witnessed someone be harassed online. So this is a major issue. Sorry. And it brings up, I'm sorry. So this brings me to my second component, which is priming. Priming is a very interesting thing that we subconsciously are ultimately unaware of. There's thousands of messages around us that influence our subconscious on a daily basis. In a study by Barg and colleagues, he had a group of students that he tested his priming experiment on, where half of them were exposed to polite priming words, and the other half were exposed to rude priming words. They were given a priming task that dealt with these polite associated words or rude associated words. They were then to complete the task and carry their paperwork down to this office at the end of the hallway, where they were then to submit their task and ultimately complete the assignment. Well, this was to then ask the question, how long would they wait? Sorry, let me take a step back. So once they got to the hallway, the person who they were supposed to submit their paperwork to was locked into a conversation with someone else. This then presented the question, how long would the participant wait until they interrupted to submit their paperwork? What Barg found was that those primed with polite words waited until the conversation was over. On the other hand, those primed with rude words interrupted immediately. So this brings me to how I will present my prosocial prime, which will be in a form of an inspirational quote that reads, "It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice." Unknown. So the aim of my study The purpose of this study is to evaluate whether prosocial priming reduces online disinhibition by regulating the occurrence of negative and toxic behaviors. My hypothesis: it is hypothesized that prosociality and self-presentation, intention, and behaviors will increase in the presence of prosocial primes. So for my method, my IV and DV, to evaluate the postulated effect, the present experimental conditions engage independent group design, which consists of two groups, one being prime condition and the second being the control condition. The primary independent variable is defined by the presence or absence of the prosocial prime, i.e. the inspirational quote. The prime condition will have be exposed to the inspirational quote, and the control condition will not be exposed. They will be the absence of the prosocial prime. Let me catch up here. So for my participants, I will have a convenient sample, which will consist of 60 undergraduate students coming from varying backgrounds of study and sex and ethnic background, yeah. There will be a participation selection criteria, which the participant has to have personal access to either a laptop or a tablet or an iPhone, or not iPhone, but a smartphone. And either one of those devices must be able to access to the campus's free Wi-Fi. If the participants meet all these selection criteria, then using the Excel's random number generator, they will be assigned to either a prime condition or a control condition. For my procedure, I will start off with an informed consent form. Once that is agreed upon, signed, they will then submit it to a designated folder at the front of the room that will be placed on the table. Next to this folder, there will be a grid of orange note cards placed face down. They are then to select one of the orange note cards. On the orange note card, the face down part of it will be a unique display of a domain that goes to a individual buddy press site. The task will then be to go to this unique domain, and it will have 18 posts on the front page. 6 that will be in blue text, 6 that will be in yellow text, and 6 that will be in white text. Blue text means a negative post, white text means a neutral post, and a yellow text means a positive post. However, the participants will not be aware of the significance of the text color, but they will also have to carry out the assignment that they respond in a comment worth 2 sentences in length to 2 blue posts, 2 white posts, and 2 yellow posts. For my dependent measure, I will be employing a textual analysis, which will be done through the Linguistic Inquiry and Word Count software, LIWC. To show you an example, if you follow along with my presentation, I took a comment offline that reads, "To the shooting spree generation, why can't you just do drugs like we did and kill yourself, not others?" I would then copy and paste each comment as input to the software and submit, and they gave me a number of textual analysis elements, but I'm only interested in 2, which is the positive emotion and negative emotion. I will then take this input or output of the textual emotions and employing the Anderson-Darling test for normality. Normality is important in this case because it will determine my further following steps of either a non-parametric statistical measure or a parametric statistical measure. So in the case, let's assume that I don't have any outliers and there's a normal distribution of results. I will then do a paired t-test to determine each participant's flaming score. This will be through using the comparison or the difference of their positive emotion value and their negative emotional value, and that difference will then create their individual flaming score. These individual flaming scores will be categorized according to their assigned condition. So then, again, assuming I use a parametric measure, I will then do a 2-sample t-test comparing these two conditions to determine whether I have a statistical significance or not, and that will be alpha 0.05. Also, you can see my visual display of data on the following bullet as well. So for my discussion, my first point of business, I will either refute or support my hypothesis, followed by a general summary of previously discussed research that had been done to further support my findings. Next, I will identify my potential flaws, potential confounds, alternative explanations, limitations. I kind of group these all together because I feel like there are two key categories that are contributors to each one of these points that need to be made. This is being done with the first point of generalizability. With the convenience sample, we are limited to a college age group. It's very true to that college age group. We don't have a diverse age group to test, and so my ability to appoint my findings to the general population of online users could be limiting. Also, there is a general understanding of there's two typical or typologies of online users, one being an active user, one being a passive user. Active users create content, they're actively engaged, commenting, liking, however you want to, tweeting, blogging. Passive users are more so categorized as lurkers, where they just kind of skim through their feed and don't really post or comment on anything. This could be a potential limitation and a confound variable because I am assigning and prescribing active users with all my participants when this might not be what their normal behavior is on their own terms. So for directions for the future research is kind of what I'm going to address in excuse me, in my big picture section. I think a key component for moving forward and in the big picture is my ability for the practical application. Because I am prescribing user typology, I think future research should involve maybe more of an established or popular interface such as Facebook or YouTube. This would address the present limitation of a natural setting and the prescribed online usage hopefully yielding a more increasingly valid results. And in turn, the experimental design would further provide an example for this potential of practical use and how it could really be influential in its truest setting. So yeah, I'd like any comments or suggestions or feedbacks. Sorry, it probably wasn't the best presentation. It's really odd to follow along, but yeah, happy Thursday!